All right. What's good with you, man?
What's happening with you, man? Ain't nothing, chilling.
Hell yeah, man. It's been a minute. What we here to talk about today?
Man, really my cartoon, man, and how it really progressed and how it started, really, man. I've done a lot of things over the time being, but, you know, the real reason why I started, you know what I'm saying, how it began. That's what we're here to talk about.
So a lot of people don't even know, like, you was into drawing and making cartoons and stuff. Like, how did that come about?
You know, honestly, man, I said it in some of my interviews. I just ain't really gave it a full clearance of what I was doing because I was mainly talking about my boxing, my trucking, and I'm still working on all that. You know, even my children, I was talking about my children mainly in that too. But, you know, my art really came from, like, my uncle, you know what I'm saying? Before that cartoon even came thought of, I used to watch my uncle, Leonard. I used to be inspired of how he used to just put his shit together, man, watch him draw, you know, what's that, the Avengers and, you know, the X-Men and all that back in the day, you know, Mega Man and shit like that most kids don't see today. And the best drawer in our house was my Uncle Chico, but I didn't meet him at this current time. We was getting pictures from jail. And I seen that nigga shit, man, and it was, like, unbelievable to see what I was seeing. It was, like, you see a picture that looks so real, you can touch it and be like, man, did somebody really draw this? I know a lot of people feel that when you see something, but he was the best one. But my uncle, Lynn, he was the one that used to always draw. So I drove over the course of time. Like, it wasn't like my everything thing. It was more of like, I kept on the track of boxing still because it kept my stress level down. But drawing was like, they kept me free from all the things I went through from, like, when I was homeless. I knew I can grab this pen and pad, I can draw on anything. I can draw on my hand, I can draw on anything. And it wasn't at this time of my cartoon, because I wasn't thinking about coming up with a cartoon till later on in life, but it came off that, watching my uncles and all that draw over the course of time of the things I was going through.
So was drawing like, it would just take you into a whole different world where you could tune out the actual goings on of life? You know what I'm saying? You can go into your own little world and just create what you want to create?
Actually, yeah, you know, to me, it's like, it's your own dimension. Like, you can be in a fantasy world and nobody can take you from that. It's right. Like, you in a dreamland and you can put whatever dots to it and you can turn it this way or turn it that way, and it turns out to be how you want it, and nobody can tell that, and nobody can take that from you. Versus you have to have a role of a basketball player or a football player, and you have to have the role of, hey, you throw the ball this way or throw the ball that way, and we're set up in the defense line or offense line. When it comes to art, everything is art. You look at, to me, for me anyway, and I know a lot of the artists feel this way, everything I see is art. Like, I can look at a car or pencil and I'm like, I can turn this to art, and you get the foundation of art. So it's, to me, it's like I'm free when I'm doing my tool. Like, even when I'm working on my craft, as far as even boxing, I can take that. I can take a glove and make the mitt look like an animal or a fake deal. It's so many things you can just do with that mitt. You know what I'm saying? Not even saying he's fighting, but just the mitt itself, you can do so many things with the mitt.
That's just your imagination, having a great imagination.
Yeah.
And not being scared or being bound or limited in your imagination. Did you ever feel like, when you was drawing at a young age, did anyone ever, like, judge you or, you know, try to tell you to draw certain things or be a certain way within your art, like develop a certain style? Because I know when we was young, we kind of in the same age group. When we was young, it was all like the tagging and, you know, writing crazy fonts and all that. But, like, did anyone ever try to steer your style, or you just always had your freedom of imagination?
I always had my freedom of imagination. Nobody really judged me for that. You know, I got more judged when I came up with my idea for my cartoon at that particular, when I got older. But when it was art, it was just, oh, he's just that kid out here gang banging. He out here boxing, hard-headed. So nobody looked at me as an artist. They knew I could draw. They knew I had talent, but they didn't look at that talent because I wasn't really focused on that talent. I had mad books, but it took me to work on my actual dream to get noticed. But at that particular time, I just draw some people, oh man, that's dope, man. You really do that? Like, yeah, man, you want to see? I'll show a couple people and I go about my business. It was more like that, you know what I'm saying? And art wasn't my thing. I was so caught up of trying to make a lifestyle of how I'm gonna survive.
Right.
So it wasn't really my art. I'm like, man, I'm trying to put food in my mouth. I got my brothers and sisters to raise. My mom out here ripping and doing this and that. I can't really think about any artwork. I'm like, you know, I drew to just say be free. You feel what I'm saying? It wasn't like no, I'm gonna do something right now with it.
Cause it really ain't like, especially at like a young age, it ain't really no financial immediate outlet for art. You know what I'm saying? You kind of just do it. And like you can go make $1 million off, you know, your pictures and shit, like off top.
And too, when you're a kid, you don't think anything will pop off. You know, you see it in, you know, Looney Tunes or anything like that. You just looking at it as at the time. You know, I didn't think anything of it. So, and then when you seeing your uncles and other relatives draw, you like, man, that's dope. But I ain't no near as good at that. But I'm gonna try. But I didn't take it at anything either. Even putting my pictures on the wall, I just drew a couple pictures and kept moving. So it wasn't like the inspirement right off the bat.
Did you? At what point? Cause I was going to say, did you get to a point? But I know you did. At what point did you get to a point where you couldn't stop? It became like, this is what I got.
So even though even today, you know, Walt Disney is a big inspiration to me, and that's who I'm trying to be like. And I keep on forgetting dude's name, the painter,
Bob Ross.
That's always gonna be my guy. He taught me how to paint. And people are like, how did he teach you how to paint? Because I was that kid back in the day. I used to just watch his stuff, and I had paints on the wall, and I'd be sitting up, going, I'm like, man, and throwing shit on the floor and doing it again. And out of nowhere, I started realizing my stuff started looking more and more real. And I'm like, man, my painting is better than my drawing. But I draw good as shit. And I'm like, man, I gotta finesse. And I learned off him. But Walt Disney was the guy that really had me inspired, but it wasn't the person to push me to get to that dream. Right. So if you really want to ask that question, the person that really inspired me was my daughter's mom's grandma, rest in peace, her soul. And one of the characters, his name is Betty. That's her name. Okay. So without her, this cartoon would never existed. Because at that particular time, I was, like I said, I was running around gang banging and doing reckless stuff. And rest in peace, my grandma too, Deanna Green. But I was so hard-headed, man, like in and out of jail from fighting every day. People showing up in my crib with guns and knives or whatever you can claim as the deal of the things I was doing. And it was getting so rough. My grandma was like, look, man, you got to get out of here. What I mean by out of here is by out of state. Because at that particular time, you know, with so many indictments going on in Park Hill, I was one of those guys that's supposed to get indicted. And grandma was like, look, nigga, you either going to get put down or you going to get killed out here, man. You need to go. So rest in peace, my brother, too, Corey Clemens. It was me, him, and my daughter's mom. We went out to Oregon. And I never been out there, man. And to me, I'm still thinking like it's still gonna be the same as how it was out here. You know what I'm saying? We went to a hippie town. We didn't go to Portland. We went to Eugene, Oregon. I get down there and I'm thinking that it's still gonna be on some Denver shit, man. And I come down there and I'm still thinking that this is what it's supposed to be like. You know what I'm saying? And it really wasn't the answer. So I get down there and man, I had never seen so many people so loving and caring. I'm like, it's a small town. And so I drew here and there, but I wasn't focused on it like that. And one particular day, it was me and her grandma, my brother. We all was chilling, and before we was chilling, she told me at the park, like, hey man, you ain't never just thought about coming up with your own idea? Yeah. I'm looking at her like, whatever. But still, she was still persistent. We get to the house and get back to the house, and she was like, look, man, you have a gift, man. You can change the world. Look at SpongeBob. So the idea of Munchie and Friends came out of SpongeBob, but the catch was I already had characters before I drew Munchie. So she was telling me as we was watching SpongeBob, we in here laughing and rolling and stuff like that. She was like, look, the character that you got, it's still one of my characters on my book. Lenny looks like Arthur. And she was like, look, man, he ain't it. That's just not it. And at that time, I didn't have Munchie. Munchie wasn't even thought of, because Munchie's the main character now. Yeah. At that particular time, I just had Munchie, Finn, and Giggles, and Lenny. and Kenny the koala bear. The rest of the character was gone. And Betty, because Betty was one of the main characters because she's the one that gave me the idea. And so when I'm watching Munchie, I'm watching SpongeBob with her sitting with me, my brother, and we all cracking up. I'm drawing stuff at the same time because back then I used to draw like 20 pictures per day, sometimes 30. You know what I'm saying? And I used to try. My goal was to finish, them 100-page books.
Yeah.
My goal was to finish those in 7 days. I was knocking them out like crazy, and I did like 20 books like that, just 100-page books, just knocking them out. Then I started slowing down, and then and we finally came back to Denver, and I started working. Not too many people know I was a teacher too, and how I became a teacher and how I started thinking more about my book is I started when I first started, because I was still on that rugged dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? And even though I was drawing, and I went back from Oregon to Denver, I came back down here like this is my environment. I'm back down here with the turf, but I still had something valuable in my hands. And I give this guy, Mr. Mark, credit. I ain't seen him in years, man. And I was in a red Dickie suit at the corner, and I'm doing what I had to do. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, "Hey, man, come in here." You know what I mean? I go in there. I'm in here in a red Dickie suit. And I remember this like it was 2 minutes ago. You know what I'm saying? He's like, "Hey." The parents is like, "Hey, man, what you doing? What you letting this man in here for? He got a red Dickie suit. I'm in here flamed up."
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey, man, you want a job? I see you on the corner every day. You nice to the kids, man. You out here." Cause I was that kind of brother, man, where even though I'm making money, I was that type of hustler. How I was like, when I was growing up, the hustlers gave me money, so I gave the young niggas money. So I gave the kids money, give the lounges, whatever, what it was, they see me. And so he's like, "Man, I see you all the time out here, man. You got a job if you come in here." I'm like, "Man, get out of here." So this little kid, Dominic, I see him all the time come out to daycare. And he seen me and, "Would you be my teacher?" I'm like, "Man, this dude crazy." So I go in here and I started working, and I became a janitor for the first 2 years.
Yeah.
And Miss Cherry, she had an emergency go to California. And so they asked me to step in, and the kids loved the way I became and as the teacher assistant at the time. And Mr. Mark was like, "Hey, man, look, you had the talent. I'm gonna send you to school to Pickens Tech to look at your early childhood development." So I was like, "You know what? I go." So I went to even to further out my book and to understand even though I had siblings and I wasn't around them, just to understand how kids really operated. So I went and I felt awkward being the only guy in the classroom of all the girls. So they used to fuck with me. And it was kind of cool, but they used to always say, "Hey, no, you got to say something. What's this answer? What's this answer?" So as time went on, I grew to appreciate what I was doing, and I became a teacher. The reason why I left, because at that particular time it was just me and Mr. Mark, and it taught me how to learn the ABCs with them, like how to sing it with them, not learn it, but sing the little things with them and like that, and go on field trips. But I left that particular statement because it was more of the parents didn't want the man to be around their children. It's like, look, if I'm around your kid all the time, it ain't my fault if your kid is telling me personal things. Yeah. And these are things I had to hear. You hear some sad stories, some good. Some of these kids look at you like you what it is, but you can't show that to them. It's the way we have to speak. It's the way you hug them. You hug them on their shoulders. You can't. This is way males doing things, but I think it was just too much for me, so I left that scene and went back to who I was. But the cartoon was really more for like Betty's ideal. It has made me feel like it was the first time I ever did something on my own. Like boxing was more of like, nigga, I'm struggling. I have no let out. Fighting was my answer. I still fight to this day. If I don't have a let out, I go hit the bag. I go jump in the spawn, or I ask coach, "Can we get a fight lined up?" Anything like that. But that's the let out as far as my anger issues. But drawing it's like a place of being free. Like when you trying to be the next Walt Disney, bro, that's a big dream. You feel me? Mm-hmm. So it's just like, in my opinion, like it's like how would I say? it's like being on top of the world when you see. Nah, like I was saying before, man, I had to step out, man, because truthfully, man, when it comes to my cartoon, it's very emotional for me, and I'm the type of dude that I'm not about to show my emotions on camera like that. It's never been that kind of person. Just around my friends and family, that's just how I be. But you know, my cartoon is a big inspirer, man. I always wanted to be like the next Walt Disney. You feel me? Like to see that man work as hard as he did, to see him go, and then still see people today where it's like Mickey Mouse. Like, come on, man, that's
carrying on his legacy.
That's a dream, man. Like to me, that's all. I don't even want people to really see who I is. It's just like, man, go ahead and fit into what's going on. Like my operation of it is more of like to inspire kids in school as far as ABCs to stay off drugs and just still do pranks and have fun with it. Like I said before, like I'm on blankets, hats, and hoodies. Man, I work my ass off, man. Truthfully, like I got over 4,000 pictures of man. Like hard work, dedication, you know, and you know, like I said, even though I'm still learning over the obstacle courses and shit, and I was still doing dumb shit at that particular time, like I didn't see the vision, you know what I'm saying, at that time. Like, I was too blindfolded of going through my court cases of custody battles with my kids before I got full custody of them, going through in and out of jail for crime I didn't do. It's just things like that, you know, people go through, you know, life problems, you feel what I'm saying? So my cartoon wasn't an option at that time. It was more of something to do. But it didn't come to reality until I went to Oregon. When I got back to Denver, it was like, shit, I'm still gonna be me, but I have an opportunity. I've been to school for education. I actually went to school for graphic designs, but I couldn't finish the courses because imagine you got all these kids, and you know you see people around the world, and I don't knock anybody. This is my fault. It takes two to tangle, but I'm a man. I got to stand up for what I have to do. I'm taking my kids to school, trying to get my work done, pay rent. I ain't got that kind of money. When you going around to like, you know, multiple, animation studios, like, you know, flying out.
Keep going. No, keep going. Sit down, bro. Keep going. Keep going.
Right.
Keep going.
So anyway, so going out to different animation studios and shit like that, getting turned down. Like, do people realize like a 3-minute animation is $10,000 to $5,000? That shit's hard, bro.
Talk about like, obviously, like you storyboard, right, and you plot out episodes, and you know you have this episode is gonna be about this adventure. Talk about the first time you storyboarded and like your process when it comes to that, like. Just picking a story like this character is gonna go through this episode.
To be truthful, to be honest with you, bro, I never had a storyline. The storylines didn't come out to like I was 10 years into the cartoon. To be real, because I was stubborn, hard-headed, and I didn't understand the process of building something like that. You feel me? It was more draw. And I'm trying to put the pictures together. And people are like, write storylines. I'm like, bruh, I can draw, but I'm looking at these kids and I don't know how to put this stuff together. And it was more of that. So it was more of like, how do I do it? So I paid somebody for my first book to get the ideal straight, you feel me? So that's how I came up with the first storyline. But nah, the characters, I didn't, like, it took me 10 years to really say, all right, look, I ain't getting no help here. I'm getting turned down everywhere. Just do it your own. And I started coming up with the description. I started laughing like, all right, Munchie's gonna do this. Betty gonna do this. You know, Fang gonna do that. Giggle's gonna do this. And then it started regressing. You feel what I'm saying? And that's how that shit really turned out and shit. You know what I'm saying?
So you never like seeked a partner in it? You know, like on the animation and writing side?
Bro, like
besides the studios, because you know how they could be.
I tried. So I'm gonna tell you, when I was in school, I met a lot of artists, and thank you. I met a lot of artists, right?
Yeah.
And for me, they had their own crafts they were doing, and I understood the time and frame of how it works. Because at first, see, this is where the stubborn part comes in, right? So the stubborn part comes where you don't know how animation works, how it's time consuming. It's just like you right now, right? When you go animate you go back and digitalize your videos, you got to master voices up and all this. As artists, don't understand the patience and the drive,
the process,
the process to put everything together. Well, when I went to school for animation, now I'm seeing with my own eyes that it's a little harder than what you're doing, because now you got to get them to move, you got to get them to talk, you got to, and really, to be honest with you can take 10 pictures and make an animation. You don't need 100,000 pictures, and that's what I thought. I was stubborn, I didn't listen. So it really takes 10 pictures to make a full animation. You see a full movie off 10 pictures. But I didn't understand the process of building your character until I went to school for it, to see how these guys were working. They say, all right, well, how can I be like them on this note? How can I pay you for that? I mean, they were still charging off their ass, because they're like, shit, you see me out here, this little movement here takes a while to do.
Yeah.
And so I kept going back to animation deals, like, hey, can I get deals, or can I pay this? And I kept getting turned down. I even went to Channel 2, bro, and got turned down. But, I never stopped my drive to keep working. I think at that particular time, the only thing I messed up with Channel 2 is I still got over probably like 30 books of Munchie. And just Munchie, I have other cartoons, but just Munchie alone have 30 books. When I say 30 books, 100-page books just filled, you know what I'm saying, from the top to bottom. And so my only mess up was, at that time, I didn't understand the game, so I went and gave Channel 2 one of my books and said, hey, can you help me out? But other than that, nah. But I know my cartoon's real because I had somebody try to steal it, and it was more for like, I'm sitting on something good, because I forgot the guy's name. It was me and my mother. It was a famous guy, and I'm like, he trying to steal my cartoons before I got it copyrighted. I'm glad at this time I had a poor man's copyright, but my mom was the one speaking to him, making it seem like I had a real copyright before I got had a poor man's copyright before I got the real, actual, legit copyright of Munchie and Friends. And my mom had a mouthpiece that made it seem like I had everything together and do this release of my stuff. To make me realize, like, this is before you see how it looks now. You know what I'm saying? Like, even my pictures, like, I'll show you. So even these pictures, right, give you a clear view, right? So even these pictures is not as good as, those pictures are good now, right? But from my beginning stages of Munchie and Friends, I was trying to figure how I was going to put the pieces together. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't really as good as they are now. You know what I'm saying? I still keep my pre-molds and realize and say, hey, look, you came a long way to where you're at now. But it was just, I realized off the ones that wasn't good enough. It was good enough because I got a guy trying to steal my stuff, and he's a known person. And the reason why I don't want to disclose his name out, and I have documents to show that, because it's not necessary to do all that. You know what I'm saying? But I can show you off closed doors. I have documents that I had a person famous, that tried to steal mine, and that's how I knew I was sitting on something.
All right.
I'm like, man, and I just never really took it serious because I couldn't get to the animation. Truthfully, bro, the animation part, I just learned 3 weeks ago. So 19 years, man.
Did that like reinvigorate you?
Oh,
Hey, sometimes it takes 19 years to find that one little thing.
I've been rapping and boxing, man, for a long time, bro. But man, that's why I'm so emotional on this camera now. I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, that shit. See that first picture, bro?
Hell yeah. How it feel to see like that first animation?
Shit, I'm happy, bro.
Yeah.
I felt like I was on top of the world.
Hell yeah. 19 years, first animation, and I saw it. That shit was dope.
Bro. I mean, like I said, even though I'm still getting a lot of criticism, I'm like, bro, you realize, man, this nigga 3 weeks. I'm just doing like small clips. I'm getting better. Like, I got a whole process. But
so imagine shit 3 years from now.
Hey man, there's no telling, man. To me personally, bro,
I'm just excited. And it really the cry is for excitement. It's not me being weak-minded and like that. It's excitement, man. But for me, it was more of like to see it on T-shirts, to see it like there's a lot from the drawing.
Yeah.
19 years, man, I never thought I'd see it like that because I've been working my ass off for it. It's like you give up. Everybody have a give up point where you be like, shit. Doesn't matter what it is. It can be a small dream. You have something going and something comes up. You be like, man, I'm cool with that. I was like that with this, man, multiple times. Why I said Munchie and Friends wasn't the obstacle course. I had other stuff going, but it's always been there. You know what I'm saying? It's always worked with me. And like I said, it's the first thing before it came from. It's my first kids. Like, they ain't real kids. You feel what I'm saying?
But they're your creation.
They my kids.
Yeah.
I look at my actual kids like I be making jokes with them because they be like, Dad, you know you older than Google. And I'm like, well, my Munchie and Friends is older than you. You know what I'm saying? So it's just stuff like that. We joke around. I think it's an inspirement because really, like me and my kids draw. They know they do their own thing. All my kids draw. I like to see them work on their craft, and there's no telling what they're gonna do with it. You know, if they do something with it, they do. If they don't, it's understandable. For me, like I said, it's the enjoyment, man. Like I don't really shed tears, man. Like I'm really a humble guy. I don't see a lot of people pass, and I don't cry, man. I don't been out of jail I'm a tough dude, man. But to see my first ideal just lift, and like I said, I told myself that even if it doesn't go anywhere, just to inspire somebody else to do better than me, to see it go, is an achievement for me. It took me a long way to get here, and it couldn't have been easier if I was paying more attention, but it's just to see the outcome of it now. It's like, you know, if it goes somewhere, I'm going to be more excited, but if it don't, I hope that somebody gets inspired by it to do better than what I'm doing, because hey, look, I showed you the craft, you can just take it and go this way with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But man, it took me a long time to get where I was at, man. The dedication. It's like, if you ain't got money or connections, man, graphic design is hard to get into. You know what I'm saying?
This industry in general.
It's definitely hard to get into, man. It's very hard. It's not no running apart, you know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this. So what's the ultimate goal and what's the next immediate goal with Munchie and Friends?
Like I said, the ultimate goal is just, like I said, to inspire everybody from all lives. You know, I wanted to help out everybody, you know, from like I said, when it comes to school, when it comes to drugs, to bullying, you know, because we do have, like, we have a character in the cartoon, his name is Bobby. I call him Bobby the Bully. You know, you have kids getting bullied all around the world. You need these things to be addressed, you know, and talked about, and see how we're going to figure out how we're going to solve the situation. That you can't stop the world or what they're doing, but it's something that kids need to see, you know, and that's what Munchie and Friends is about. You know, it's funny at times because you need it live. You don't always need something too serious, but you need to have something where it's going to draw attention. My whole deal is to service everybody of just trying to give something positive. Really, that's really what it is, man. It's not more than it's no more than that. Really, it's just really trying to do something positive, bro. Really straightforward, you know.
All right, so you got your first animation. I assume you working towards your first full episode.
Yeah, right now I figured out a few things. It's pretty dope. Like I said, that's a whole lot of process of mine. It's only a few weeks that I've been doing as far as the animation. Like I said, when I seen that cartoon, man, you seen I just got emotional. I'm making a joke of it now, but now I can actually tell I flipped out, man. I seen that first picture, like, dang, whoa, this is a whole different world. And like, you know what got me, you know, and I'm gonna tell the world on this too. When I first, it wasn't even Munchie that moved. I had Ben's the Bumblebee.
Yeah.
And he moved, and I said, man, I froze. I felt like I was looking at a ghost, but in a funny way. Like I was looking at Casper just moving, and I said, dude, this moving ain't even the word. And I said, hey, man, look, I'm in here. And, you know, like I said, it's going to take some time to get that full animation skit. I'm working on books, too. The books will be out way sooner than the animation. I'm going to keep dropping small clips, stuff like that. Shirts and hats is about to come out soon. But I figured out how to make it longer. And that's the process now. Like, you know, do I still wish I can get some help? Yeah, it's very hard. But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna keep working, and I figure out how to do that. You know, the certain voices, I still got a lot to play around to do, but it's still stuff I really need to know. You know what I'm saying? But we ain't got nobody helping.
Well, if you need a voice actor,
hey, well, I need help. Yeah,
I'll be about the bully.
Yeah, because you know it's hard to find people like that. You feel me? And like I said, it's an enjoyment to see something you've been working on, something come to life, and that's what the theater for. It's for the joy. It's not for me being weak mind. It's like, man, I actually been working on something that's actually moving, and I'm like, I'm really impressed. You feel what I'm saying? And it's a good thing because I have something going. Like, I look at my boxing, my kids can always go watch my boxing, or you know, they can always go see that Daddy started this business because my business is out there. They can always go watch my music videos. Now they see my cartoons coming to life from they seen from the first started to how it's in motion. You know, these are things I get to talk about with my kids now, and it's kind of a good thing. You know, they should see that if I don't get the Daddy still made these moves. You know what I'm saying? And to me, I had the ambition that life ain't over yet. I can get there. You know, and so I feel like that's where that Walt Disney come from. It's just like, man, I love his ambition. Like, he worked his ass off from slipping, falling, man, kept drawing and kept getting turned down, and he finally ran away. And when he did, he still talked about, even though he's not even on this planet, I'm one of his biggest fans. You feel me? That's more of the inspirement to get there. You know what I'm saying? So.
Hell yeah. Good shit, man. I'm trying to think of one more question. I'm gonna cut this part out.
Hey, a couple things you might have to cut.
You got a question? What's something I can
Did we miss anything?
end cap this with? Because I didn't really have to ask no questions. You kind of yeah, you kind of said everything.
What is your biggest drive now to keep going? Is it because you see the animated?
Yeah, he gave me inspired me to get back going to that. You know, at first, like, I thought it was dead. You know, truthfully, like, I was really just gonna leave it under the rug and call it a day. You know, I think when I seen that animation come back, it gave me that spark again when I first seen it. You know, it made me feel like Betty was there laughing with me, joking with me, you know, rest in peace her soul, and she's the one that started it. But when I seen that animation, I seen Ben move, then I seen Munchie, then I seen Betty move. It made me think of Betty like, you know, without this woman, this would never came to life. And I kept working on it to see it really come to form. Like, I wouldn't know what to do with it. You know what I'm saying? It's a life game and change. To me, it kind of saved my life with the rest of the things I've been involved with, as far as the boxing and the music. It was really the main things that really kept me going. It wasn't, you know, the business. The business came then later on in life, like the trucking and all that. I wasn't thinking about no. I was just thinking of how can I have some quick cash where the truck stuff came from. To me, boxing came from like, hey, look, it was, even though I was trying to get rid of my anger issues, it was more of like, look, I want to be the champion. You know, lose or win, you a champion, and I want to beat the best. You know, that's what boxing was really for. Art was like, yo, you free. Music was like, look, when you sad and out, when you can't talk to nobody because nobody really listening, you can talk to your pen and pass. So those three things has always been the form of who I was, you know what I'm saying, of how I made things go. It came from my kids. These are my kids here. You know, everybody had their own dreams. Even my kids had their own dreams, even y'all. But those are my options. You know, those are my dreams.
Good shit. Tell them where they can find you at.
Hey, man, you can find me on Facebook on Noah Miller, man. Munchie and Friends on YouTube. Munchie and Friends on Instagram. What's that damn thing called?
TikTok.
TikTok. Hey, I'm just now getting into all the social media stuff, so just bear with me. You know, you got my YouTube channel, Noah Miller Freestyles, but it's stuff like that I'm on, but you know, the cartoon will be really just on those other sites besides normal and the freestyle. I just feel like that's really inappropriate for the kids to see on that type of note, because I don't feel like certain things I'm saying is unbearable to hear. I'm just talking about it. I just feel y'all need to know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Even the boxing thing, like, you know, I think boxing's cool. If you feel like you want your kids involved, you can always tune into my boxing stuff. But other than that, I don't promote that either when it comes to, you know, the cartoon stuff. That's just, you know, but that's where you find that.
So more Munchie and Friends coming soon.
Yeah, more Munchie. Yeah, it's coming soon. I'm working hard, and definitely y'all see more of the outcome. Just bear with me, and y'all definitely see how much your friends turn out.
Yes, sir.
That's how. Stay tuned. I get at y'all very soon, man. It's your boy No. Holla at me.